I know who you are. You know who you are. Just say it. Come on.
Hey guys, Pete here. Over the last couple of days, there's been a lot of discussion about the back-to-back trailers Better Call Saul just put out for the final episodes. We're just a little more than 1 week away from the premiere of episode 8, and there's some potential good news and some potential bad news in this pair of teasers. The good news is that we got what appears to be our first look at actual new footage from the final episodes. And the bad news is that it looks like they had to recast the character Jeff, who was originally played by the actor Don Harvey. That's what I'm here to talk about, and if any of that sounds like spoilers, or you're averse to speculation, then this video won't be for you. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. We got a couple of teasers over the last 2 days, and the first one, which is called Gene's World, created quite the stir. In that, we see mostly recycled footage of Gene Takovic in Omaha. There are shots of him working at Cinnabon and making himself a rusty nail cocktail at home from the very first episode. From season 5, there's a shot of him looking paranoid, peeking out his window, one of him pouring out the diamonds he has hidden in a Band-Aid tin on his table, and him on the phone telling Ed the Disappearer that he got made before he says, "I'm going to fix it myself," which is of course how they ended the last scene that we've seen of him. From season 4, there's a shot of him in the backseat of Jeff's cab, followed by one of him looking scared after he gets out. All of this old footage is there to remind us of Gene's situation, his frame of mind, and what he was up to when we last saw him. There's not much that stands out in that except maybe showing the diamonds ties in with the idea of him paying Jeff off, which the last teaser seemed to hint at. They did choose to show 2 shots of him peeking out of the window from different seasons, but one's interior and one's exterior, so they naturally go together, and to me that just reinforces that he's constantly looking over his shoulder. The new footage is an overhead shot of someone eating a Cinnabon with a knife and fork, and it's a mystery as to who this is because they're wearing a wedding ring. We know Jimmy never wore one, and in the scenes where Don Harvey played Jeff, he isn't wearing one either. The big thing in this trailer that got everyone talking was that even though it's cut together with Saul sitting in the back seat, the shots of Jeff's cab now have a different actor sitting in the driver's seat in a much brighter looking scene. The voice also sounds a little bit off when he says, "It's you, it is you." Right away, people started guessing that they recast the actor. My initial thought was that Gene had called up the taxi company like Jeff told him to in the mall scene, and someone else had to come pick him up in his car. I knew Don Harvey was in We Own This City, which just wrapped up on HBO, and figured that they probably were filmed at the same time. I built an elaborate theory that included schedule changes because of Bob's heart attack and COVID restrictions that would make Gene meeting someone else in Jeff's circle necessary, but I did assume that the original actor would still be involved in some way, primarily because I think that Gene going after Jeff is going to be a big part of how the series comes to an end, and these 2 new teasers do kind of reinforce that idea. Not long after I put my super theory together, it took a couple of quick hits. First, the fan account, All About Saul, posted that they had inside information that Jeff had been recast. Then the second teaser came out where the new actor is wearing the same sweater that Jeff had on in the season 5 mall scene. I was able to imagine someone else driving his car, but them doing that while wearing his sweater doesn't work nearly as well. I will come back to the details about the recast, but first I want to talk about the second teaser. That opens with the Albuquerque Isotopes air freshener dangling from the rearview mirror of Jeff's cab. The camera switches from that to focus on the driver looking back, just like it did when the character was first introduced when he picked up Gene at the hospital after he collapsed in the kitchen at Cinnabon. In this version, you see that this is a completely unrelated shot of him driving during the day. They named this one You Know Who You Are, and you hear some of the dialogue from when they first talked. Remember, he was pressuring him into admitting that he was Saul Goodman from the commercials he used to always see when he lived in Albuquerque. Here you can tell without question that this is not Don Harvey's voice. As I mentioned, this is during the day, so this is brand new footage with a brand new actor with some dialogue that's been re-recorded in his voice. That all seems to be in line with recasting the character. I suppose that hearing these lines in his voice led some people to think that they reshot the scenes with Jeff completely, but I don't think that really makes sense. Also, in All About Saul's post, they said that the reshoot in the cab was an introduction to the new Jeff, so that we can be prepared to see that when it airs, and hopefully not be so jarring. Initially, that sounded like they redid those scenes, but after seeing the second bit of footage that happens at a different time and place, it seems more likely that they just added the new actor's voice to signal the change. The reason for the recast seems to be schedule conflicts based on Don Harvey's role in We Own the City. While Jeff is an important character for Better Call Saul, he's not part of the main cast. I'm not entirely sure how those things work, but it doesn't seem like they would be able to keep him on contract between seasons. It is disappointing because he did such a good job in the short amount of time he had on screen, but these things happen pretty often if you think about shows that run for multiple seasons over a number of years. Ultimately, it's not that important in my eyes, and probably won't make that big of a difference in the big picture. They cast the role the first time and that turned out great. Why wouldn't they be able to do a competent job of replacing him? The weird part is that these trailers really stirred up a lot of fans, and there was no official announcement that they were bringing a new actor in. I've seen several fan reports that say the new actor is Pat Healy, which seemed like a credible enough idea. It definitely looks like him, and he's been engaging with a lot of Better Call Saul stuff on his social media, but it seems like it would be pretty easy for the show to pass this information on to a news outlet and get it out there if they wanted to temper expectations around Don Harvey's return. At this time, there's been no official announcement in the press or on social media, and people are definitely trying to get them to say something. For now, I guess it's nice to see some brand new footage that adds to all the speculation they've been stirring up with the promos they already put out. And it does look like the recast is probably happening. As far as the Instagram account that I mentioned that claimed to have the insider information about it, All About Saul is an account I'm familiar with. I don't know them, but I would describe them as an earnest fan who lives in Albuquerque and posts useful information because they love the show. I don't really see an angle to making something like this up, but it's possible that their source doesn't have complete or correct information. It won't be long until we see it with our own eyes. I do wonder who is eating the Cinnabon in that first clip, and I think that's a good place to leave things. Let me know in the comments what you think about the new teasers, the unfortunate recasting, and how Jeff will play into the endgame. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.